Jeffrey lit a match, and hundreds of bulbous, blinking eyes became visible. They were looking in different directions, and some appeared to be communicating telepathically with one another. As I cast my eyes about the room, they turned to me, expectantly. I reached forward to touch one of them. It belonged to Cleopatra, the real one from Egypt. She's here? What had been almost a wall of eyes billowed away from me, and I started to swing my arms in swiping motions towards them, taking delight in their convulsions and retractions. In the darkness, a hand pushed me, and I started to fall. A second hand pressed against my face. Soon there were more hands than anything else. The eyes were like a distant memory. I felt like I was in a pinball machine. The impatient hands turned to fists, and they started to hurt. My stomach and rib cage were worst hit. I imagined myself as a player in the video game Destruction Derby, where flashing green, yellow, orange, then red lights on a small image of your car indicate the levels of damage to each part of the vehicle. Most body parts were flashing either orange or red, except my right hand, which had not sustained any damage. So I guess I could still write. I reached out my hands and grabbed the nearest thing, and then someone with a huge ring on his finger punched me in the face. Darkness. My eye killed, and I felt the slow, tantalizing trickle of blood on my cheek. I knew I was on the floor now because I could sense people's feet all around me. In desperation, I called out for Jeffrey, even though I had long since stopped believing in him as a Labrador. I mean, think about it. He lit a match, for goodness sake. When the feet around me had finally dissipated, I staggered to my feet and started to search frantically for him. I don't know where I'm going. Where are we going, Jeffrey? Where are you? Jeffrey! That laughter track was back in full force now. It sounded convincing, too. I could hear individual voices in the crowd, and I imagined two of them were on a date, competing over who found me more hilarious. I had the feeling we were at an awards ceremony, and they wanted to give me a prize. Was it a Latin prize? The crowd was shouting one word over and over, although I couldn't make it out. It had an O ending, so I figured it must have been a verb, or maybe a noun. I always forget the third declension. It's definitely a third declension now. My ears were wide open, hearing everything, so I tried to focus them on that one repetitive sound. The noise became continuous until it resembled the beat of the waves on a beach of rounded pebbles, and from behind it came the sound of a 40-year-old black woman shouting one word over and over in a monotone. Premio! 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 Ah, I thought, it is a Latin prize. The darkness was ebbing. Whirls of mist uncovered white tiles and a wet floor. Finally, my mudded and blooded feet came into view. Fremio! 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 Shrill, right in my ear. Hey, will you cut that out? I shouted over her, squinting. She thought I wanted one of the newspapers she was handing out. 3 a.m. New York, sir. Is that what you're saying? 3 a.m. New York? I took stock of myself and realized I was in no state to help anyone with any panoramas of ancient Rome. My feet were filthy and tattered like hobbit feet. Hey, do you have the time? About 8:30. Where you going looking like that? She said. I don't even know where I am, I answered. You're on 14th Street, and you look like shit. She said it in that sassy voice that I hate. Yeah, well, your newspaper is shit. I tried looking really patronizing, but you can't do that in pajamas.